Hello, everybody. Guess what? I am the lucky one out of Memphis that gets the interview with the one and only William Mickey Stevenson. Now, to a whole lot of you all, y'all don't even know who he is. Y'all may have never heard of him. We always thought that it was BG, other AKA Barry Gordon, that ran the whole Motown thing. But it wasn't. Of course, he was the mastermind, but there were two masterminds. Matter of fact, it was a whole lot of masterminds. There was a lot of people who made Motown who they are and what they are, and the sound of music and the soul of music and the healing that took part in the music. But I got the guy, the A&R man of Motown, the first. I got the interview, and his name is Mickey Stevenson. How are you today?
Fantastic. I'm just glad the way you said that, because everybody would come and say, well, how did this happen? How did that happen? And I explained to them as best I could that these were gifts given to us by God. And each one of us had, we all have gifts. All of us have 3 or 4 gifts. And when you recognize and tune in on one that you could work with, that's a blessing. And they want to give credit to this person and that person, credit to me. I say, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. But it came from the man upstairs. And all for a purpose. In my opinion and understanding, Motown was built for us to recognize that we as a people can do anything we want if we stick together and work together. And for that, he sent different people like me and Barry and Smokey and others to come together to make that an absolute point. Are you with me?
Amen.
Well, I appreciate the compliments, but let's give it to the master, because that's where it came from.
It does. It does. Just like this interview, it came
for a purpose.
Because, I've read the book, so I don't really know where to start, but I kind of imagine myself as Martha Reeves.
Oh, that's good.
I can't, because she was persistent. And when I got to the part where she went into the studio and she recorded that song, and everybody went, oh, what is it, Ivy somebody? They went, oh, man, that's her song. What are you going to tell Kim?
Yeah, we had I know you read about the guy, Ivy Joe Hunter, that wrote writers with us. Ivy Joe, when he came into Motown auditioning to be a singer, and he sang one song, then he sang another song. By the 4th song, I said to him, who wrote those songs? He said, I did. I said, Ivy Joe, I tell you what, I won't sign you as an artist, but I'll sign you as a producer and a writer. He said, well, I said, I'm going to help you as a producer. You have the gift. And he said, will I ever get a chance to record? I said, yeah, but let that be later. Right now, let's work with that. And I will work with you because you have the gift. And he said, oh, man. And he said, will I get hit records? I said, yeah. He said, you're going to love this part. He said, okay, I won't cut my hair until I have a hit record.
Oh,
you can imagine
that's the reason why he cut his hair after Martha Reeves. Because I remember reading, he went and got the haircut.
You can imagine what he looked like, because it took us months working together. You can imagine what he looked like coming there. He wouldn't comb it and he wouldn't cut it. He was terrible. And when he heard her sing that song, he said, William R., I'm going to go get a haircut. That was funny. And he did. He got a haircut.
So Kim and the cooking. She must have been a darn good cook for Lamar Dozier and Holly to come and say, just keep eating. And you smart on that one. You said, take advantage of this opportunity.
Well, I had to get a record on her, because I didn't give her that song, which was supposed to be for her. but Martha delivered it in with such a way. You know, when something happens to you, you hear and you is right there. That's it. You don't want to change that. And so now I owed her a song, and I said, okay, Holland and Doja, who are the greatest producers in the world, I said, you guys gotta give me a song for Kim Weston. So we invited them over for dinner. Now she could cook. Her mother could cook, and she could cook. I'm talking about they like to have the whole everything on the table is smoking. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so they came over to eat, and they got so carried away with the food. Eddie Holland, he'd be eating. He say, "Man, we're gonna do a song on her." He say, "Man, ain't no question about it." He's eating.
And just eating.
I mean, they was eating them, and took a whole lot of stuff home with them.
Well, she knew how to cook and she knew how to shop.
Oh yeah, she was good. She was good. Very, very
That was
serious.
awesome. Awesome. The thing that I noticed.
You have a great smile. I got to tell you that.
Thank you. Woo, coming from you. Oh my. What a great compliment. What a great compliment. I've always wanted to be an entertainer. I've always wanted to be a singer. So I took all my passion and I just started doing radio, school for it. So,
Got the gift. What can I tell you? That's one of your gifts.
Hey, you quite crazy. Get on Andre, who made all of this possible. Thank you, Andre Pittman. Okay, so getting back to the book.
Okay.
Il Duce or Il Dolce.
Yeah, that was the Italian word for.
Wait a minute. Say it again.
El Duce.
El Duce, the leader, the dictator. I heard you handled them with a stick.
Well, I had some very strong guys there. When they come out the street, they didn't come from some nice place. They came from the street, but they came with their hearts. And with their hearts, when people come with their heart, you can communicate. When they come with their attitude and their supreme approach to life, it's hard to deal with them. You got to either give in or walk away. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
When they come with their hearts, no matter how tough they are or how whatever it is, they're looking for some help.
Yes.
And I was given the gift to recognize the talent in the musicians, the artists, the writers. Like I said, don't ask me how and why. All I know is God gave me that gift. Once I recognized it, I used it. That's all.
What I was amazed by is how you started writing your songs and how you met Berry Gordy. And you was talking about this little place you lived and the music was playing downstairs and you was writing songs to the music, I thought that was unique. And then when you went to the barbershop and you just happened to be sitting next to Berry Gordy.
Well, Benny Mullen set that up. Benny Mullen, the barber. See, Benny, his name was Benny Mullen. We called him Muldoon just for a nickname.
Okay.
He had a 2-chair barbershop. Okay.
I was thinking it was a big one.
Oh, no. And in those days, we had our hair processed and waved and curled, and he was the best in the city. And all the entertainers, when they came in to perform in Detroit, you go to Benny Mullen's and get your hair done first before you go to the stage, right?
Yeah.
So Benny he had 2 chairs, but he had 3 telephones, the kind you put the quarters in, and he had about 3 chess sets and some checkered sets. So what he would do is when you walk in the shop, he keep you busy while he work on somebody else, so you wouldn't leave, so he can make that money.
Oh, I understand the process.
So he introduced Berry. He talked about me to Berry, and he talked about Berry to me. So when we came in at the same time, that was great for him because he can say, okay, that's Berry Gordy over there, that chair right there. I said, that's Berry Gordy. He said, yeah. He said, let me do this. He fixed my hair a little bit. Then you go to Berry and say, now that's Mickey Stevenson guy I was telling you about. See? So now we got to get our hair waved. Now we got to get under the dryer and all that. And in the meantime, he can put 2 other people in the chair. So he was juggling things around. So we had a chance to talk, Berry and I. And I'm thinking, that, oh man, I could be a singer. I want to be like a Jackie Wilson, see? And he producing Jackie Wilson, he can produce me. Now that we get to know each other. That's where my head was. Barry was in a whole nother place. I didn't know that, you know what I mean? So he said, man, I heard about you. with the musicians in the city and all that. He said, we got to talk when I come back. I said, where you going? He said, I got to go to Chicago to finish this album on Jackie Wilson. I said, hey, man, I got a couple of tunes that'd be great for him. He said, no, I got the songs. But when I come back, we'll get together and talk. So I was fired up, and I was really thanking Benny for setting us up, see? But remember, Benny was doing it for his own purposes to keep us in the shop to get that money. So it worked out pretty good. We got a chance to meet in the shop. And but I found out later on that Smokey had told him about me as well.
Wow.
Yeah. When we got in, when he came back about maybe a month or so later, he called me and said, come over to my place, and I want to talk with you. So I'm thinking, I brought my best songs, right? And I'm going to his apartment, and I'm looking for him to live in one of these great places because he had big hits on Jackie Wilson. Well, it's an apartment building. I call Ghetto Fabulous, where you push the button, you better grab the door before it closes. I said, wow, this guy. I'm walking down the hall to his apartment. He's on the phone with his shorts on, talking. And I get there. I don't see no piano. I don't see nothing fantastic. The drapes on the wall, when the window's about to fall down. And I'm saying, man, this guy's really cheap. You know what I mean? It had the big records on Jackie Wilson. And I'm saying, what's going on? And he said, okay, he's still talking. He said, where's your songs? I said, right here. He said, let me hear him. Got the phone on. I'm saying to myself, I said, you ain't got no piano or nothing. He said, can you sing the song? I said, yeah. He said, then you don't need no piano. And that was like a challenge when he said that to me, you know what I mean? I said, okay. So I pulled out my songs. I started singing. And he's still on the phone. He finally put the phone down. I sang, well, you got another one? I sung another one. Said, that's pretty good. And I say, now, wait a minute. Now, this one I'm about to sing right now, this is the one we're going to have a hit on me with. He said, wait a minute. A hit on you? I didn't come here for you to be no singer. I said, what? He said, man, your songs are pretty good, but your voice is for shit. I said, what? I was so upset. I started grabbing. He said, where you going? I said, man, I come to be an artist. He said, look, I want you to be the A&R man for the company. I said, A&R man? What is that? He said, well, artist and repertoire. He said, anyway, you find artists, you get musicians, you get producers, and we make hit records. And I said, we record. He said, record anybody you think can make a hit. That's what you do. You got that job. And I said to him, can I record myself?
Still trying to get in there.
Yeah, I'm good. He said, if you got a hit, yeah. He said, well, if it ain't, no. I said, well, who would I report to? He said, me. I said, well, I mean, nobody else? He said, you and me. He said, you do anything you think could make this company grow. I said, I ain't got to talk to nobody. He said, you and me, that's it.
Wow.
I said, now I'm still thinking to myself that, hey, if I'm in charge, I'm going to cut me. Anyway, I'm into the thought of it. I said, well, let me think about it. So I'm really not sold on the whole idea. And I really wanted to do myself. But I'm about to leave the whole deal. And I'm walking away. And I remember my mom said to me, if you want to get into something, you got to start somewhere and you got to work at it. If it's not going to work, you'll find out. But you'll never know unless you try. So I turned around and walked back. I said, how much you paying for this job? He said, $5 a day and all the chili you can eat. Right there, I thought he was crazy. I said, this guy. So I said to him, I'm in charge. Now I'm thinking, I didn't care about the $5 and I didn't care about the chili. But I'm thinking, let me see what this is about. Because I can cut. I'm still thinking about recording me. You got it?
Mm-hmm.
And
you still thinking about recording you.
Yeah, right. So I've been in that place and I said, when do I start? And he had this smirk on his face. as if he knew I was going to take the job anyway. He said, "You already have." And I looked at him, I said, "Who does this guy think he is?" To myself, you know what I mean? But I did decide I was going to take the job for my reasons, not for his reasons.
Okay.
Smokey Robinson's walking down the hall. He coming down the hall. And he said, "Mickey." And he said, "Barry, what's Mickey doing here?" He said, "He's going to be the A&R man for the company." Smokey said, "Oh, man, that's phenomenal." He said, "Man, I need a bass player and a drummer for my session tomorrow, blah, 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 blah." I said, "Okay, you got it." And I'm walking away, and Barry said, "Hold it, man, hold it. How you going to get him a bass player and a drummer like that? You just got the job." And Smokey looked at him. Now, Smokey and I used to battle our groups in the city,
Okay.
at schools. He had his group, I had my group. Whenever the parties came along or something, they would either hire him or hire me. You got it? Yeah. And I used to wear him out because we doing jazz and pop. He doing straight up R&B, And so we had a battle going, but it was a fun thing, So Smokey told him, he said, "If Mickey said I'll have the bass player and the drummer there, I'll have a bass player and a drummer there. That's the way he operates." And Barry looked at me, and I just kept walking. And that was the beginning of our relationship with a handshake.
Wow.
He never broke his word.
Awesome.
Anything I wanted to do, I could try it. Sometimes he doubted me. And when he doubted me, I said, "Okay, let's bet on it." We bet $500 up to $1,000.
I heard you was a good poker player.
Hell yeah. I'd wear him out too. I lost a couple, but wasn't much more than I lost. You know what I mean? But it was this. But the point was, okay, he was telling me in his way, "I believe in you. That's why I got you here. Go ahead and do it. But in case you don't, it's gonna cost you $500." And I would say to him, "And if I do I get a raise?" And he would say to me, "No, that's your job."
You know what was so amazing about this book, and I think later on, as I was reading, it kind of reminded me of American Idol, and then it's later put in the book American Idol, because based on what you were saying, you had lines of people out there waiting to be auditioned. And I want to just talk about this one point in this book about how you decided that you just had one way of walking people out the door. Because after that guy came down the street with the gun.
Oh boy.
What was that about?
That was crazy. Well, I was, I was not a person that knew about auditions. That was not my thing. So I would only, I get right to the point. Okay, what do you do? You sing, okay, start singing. I go like that, you know what I mean? And I didn't have a method to, I eventually got a way of working it, but I was very bold, and I didn't want to audition no way, but I knew we needed to have artists and producers and writers. How am I going to get them without listening to who could bring their talent? Mm-hmm. And so I was very abrupt and lack of experience. I went at it from a different point of view. Well, and I would get sometimes cussed out in there and all that, "Who you think you are?" and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't pay them. That never bothered me. All I know is when you can't say, "Close the door, please. Send the next guy in." I was still on a one-track movement.
That's why I was like, "Ooh, I better get it right."
Yeah, right. So, but this one guy came in singing, and I'm doing like 25, 30 people. I mean, every weekend. I mean, it's incredible. And they got bigger, and they come in. Some would drive a long ways, and I'm about to close down, but I felt sorry for them for coming that far. So, okay, let me hear what you got. The moment they opened their mouth, I didn't hear nothing. I said, "Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it, but we come back later when you can sing this." And I was not nice about it. I didn't know how to handle it. I just handled it like a street person, not as a professional auditioning, blah, blah, blah. I learned that over a period of time, to be more sympathetic about people's desires and their feelings and all that. Because I was in a hurry of trying to get the best I could get as soon as I can get them so I could work. You know what I mean? I was.
But that's the nonsense, right? Look, yeah, right. What I got to do.
I ran across this one guy and told him, he was bragging about, "Man, and the people, my family say I can sing and this, that, and I said, "I don't know who told you that, but you can't sing at all, man. So I suggest you don't lose your job." Like that. I was one of them kind of people. That's the guy. When he left later on down the week or something, he come up shooting at me because he was I mean, that was I destroyed this whole dream, not knowing I was doing that though. That's my whole point. You know, I had no idea how sensitive people were about what someone told them they can do or what someone told them they could not do. They just take that to heart. And I didn't have the time to go through a whole like 20-minute conversation. But I mean, hear the song, you start saying, stop, 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 stop. You got anything else? Just let me hear another one. Okay, thank you very much. Well, you gonna sign me? Oh no, man, you ain't got it. I mean, why don't you get next? You know what I mean? Send the other guy in as you leave. I was one of those kind of people. But I learned to say, you know, you got a pretty good voice. We're not ready for you yet. Yes. So why don't you come back in about 6 months where we a little more got things tied down and let's try it again. And what's your name again? I learned to go that way. And anyway, the guy came in and he came shooting at me. I had no idea he was shooting at me. I'm standing there talking to the sales guy and promotion guy record, and we out having a smoke cigarette. And man, the guy running down there was coat naked with a coat on, a gun in his hand. I said, "What the heck?" And the promotion guy standing with me said, "Man, he's shooting at you." I said, "What?" By the time the cops grabbed him, they want to do all this stuff. I said, "Man." It dawned on me that this was I brought this on myself. I broke his spirit, which I shouldn't have done that way. I learned a big lesson, not so much of not getting shot, but you can't do that with people. You just cannot do that.
So true.
You know, you gotta respect the fact that because other people tell them what they can and cannot do, they buy that. Don't let it be a lover or a mother or father. They take that as reality. And the person who's talking to them don't know what they're talking about, but they're trying to make them feel better. So they leave with that energy and that belief. And when you tear it down, you don't know what you're asking for from that person. So I learned to be more sympathetic and explain to them when I had the moment, I'd say, okay, you got a voice, but you need some training. Why don't you go to do so and so and such and such? Spend some time with them, then come back. Let's try it again. I learned to work it from that point of view. You follow me?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. So, am
I talking
more questions? I got more questions.
All right, go. Am I talking too much here?
No.
Okay.
It's just I probably need your wife to come back in and let's start a second session on this.
All right, whatever you want.
Okay, so I'm gonna end this one and just tell her to just come back in and I'm gonna start a new one.
Okay, when?
Right now.
All right. Shall I tell her to come back now?
Yeah, tell her to come back.
Michelle, she wants you.